he's never going to be successful. That's simple. And how long did it take you to take your profile? 5 to 10 minutes. 5 to 10 minutes, you can know everything you need to know about a person. Would you agree to that?
Yeah.
Yeah, really.
Matthias, is there a psychology tool that does that?
Not that I know of.
I think I want to come up with a devalidation. Devalidation tool for psychology. It's coming out. I'm going to hold it back.
Trying to coincide with the new DSM, and that would probably help. The new diagnostic manual.
What would happen if, you tell us, you're the expert, what would happen if we went into a human resources person that was all about validation and stuff like that, and they said, well, what kind of validation you got? I ain't got no validation, but I got some devalidation. What's that? All your psychology tools, I don't think they're effective. I can devalidate them. Well, how are you going to do that? With truth?
True. Well,
What do you think the response is?
not only just truth, immediate truth.
Yeah.
Not truth you find out later. You find out now, like now.
Yeah, now, actually, that's what we say, but that's not how we say it. That's another tool, or one of the things I talk about in these tools too. You can say anything you want to somebody. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. So I would never go into that. And I've said some bold things before to psychologists and stuff.
Oh, really?
Human resources people. Yeah, really. Really? But you could go in there and actually address that validation question like that. Say the same thing I just said, but not that way.
And the thing,
And we already did it earlier. We
Right.
said it by, hey, instead of that validation, what's becomes more valid to you, the operative word here is valid, is that your employees get it, they're inspired by it, they're motivated by it, and then act it, or somebody 1,000 miles away says this is good. That's the validation you need.
But also, just in what you're saying, because, I would be lying if that was not a concern from a psychological point of view, psychology point of view. But the very fact that you're going to be speaking to somebody that's probably going to be asking those questions, to acknowledge that these are valid questions in itself. But that's why we're here.
Exactly.
I think, and I'm just thinking of how to open that avenue, because it could be a serious door to just, when somebody's stuck on, well, give me validity, give me reliability. How do you know before you even came here? But that's why we're here.
Here's a couple things for you. You're aware of management programs, right? They've been around for years. Soft skills industries, last time I checked in 2000 or 2001, was a $58 billion a year industry. And I'd say, would you agree with me, Mr. Business Owner, Human Resources Director, whoever you are? Would you agree with me that 95% of these soft skill training programs are associated with some sort of validated personality profile test? Right. Can I ask you why there's so many of them? And can I ask you, how many of them do you know have 100% buy-in by the workforce? So are we looking for a validation program that has been rehashed, repeated as the management program of the month, and always has resistance by employees, or are we looking for a program that builds awareness, communication, improves relationships, leading to better productivity, more profitability? Which one do you want?
More profitability, and better relationships.
That's the question we're here for. We're not here, and this is why I keep on sending this home. We're not here to compete with psychological profiles. Do we show a personality? Yes. But it's based off motivation and communication. We're trying to teach people how to understand each other. We're trying to teach people how to improve themselves through having more positive experience in their lives through the relationships that they have, so that they can be more productive personally and professionally, so your company can be more profitable. I'm not here to analyze anybody.
We're not opposed to saying, sir, since let's have an appointment next week, why don't you just take this little, test, and I will see you next week. But we know how they think too.
Yeah. Let me hit you with another thing, Matthias.
And so you plan ahead, like Dennis is saying, you plan ahead with the pros and cons of each personality. That's why, because they could be the problem.
Often it is.
They could be the very problem because the way they see themselves, the way they see the business. And, you know, that can help them in the first face-to-face interaction with the UA system that, okay, here's what we could show you. You know, after the interview, here's what we could share with you. And you probably get
That's amazing what you brought. It's a good point to bring up. On that profile that you took, you see the CHA, the Cultural Health Assessment by People First. That is a measurement, a validated measurement that's built by People First that measures how your whole staff feels about the company and its overall health. There's your next step. That's $300 per participant. But a company can get a key validated process that can give them instrumental information on their overall company wellness. And then it ties into what? These user-driven tools.
Right.
So now there's that connection between People First and us. They're into leadership and training on a corporate level, culture change. They're getting CEO buy-in, top down. We're coming from the bottom up. They want to meet in the middle someplace. Why don't you drop a knife? I heard my ear. So, you have a question? I'm gonna continue on a little bit, but I answered some of that for you?
Yes, you did.
And we got lots of those. We're gonna start. If you look at the worldhealing.com and go through the arithmetic of attitude,
Yes.
go through the live one and then go through the instruction. Every objection a customer would have about validation, employee acceptance,
Right.
if you read that, it's in there. I handled every objection I've ever heard in the last 17 years.
That's the one that has all the color on the page?
Yes, the different, yeah. I did say it, I deliberately did not want to go into depth.
Taint yourself with
Right, because it would mean, yeah, it should be a biased approach. Because I have those preconceived notions because of my environment. But then going into a new environment, you want to drop those and see what comes at you. I think, but that's part of that's part of what UE does too. It helps you see things for what is, how you feeling right now. You know. So
Here's how to ask for you in future people in the psychology field. My first question, have you ever struggled with trying to convey to a patient or employee or individual the complexity of what you know? You know you can help them, but it's like, what words do I use?
yes.
And here's my second question.
They-
Does this give you some tools, just the tools by themselves, to really help make that happen?
User-friendly tools, basic terminology, and simplicity.
Understood at the grade school level.
Yes,
That's what this is about. We're not here to replace psychology. As a matter of fact, we can overlap it with psychology.
yes, and I
This will
agree.
tie into your 4 quadrants,
I agree.
just a little different name that can be understood by a grade school. And how many people in their company have 40-year-old grade schoolers? Lots.
Yeah, you'll be surprised. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
I just wanted to interject. From my point of view in marketing design, it'd be nice to have a brochure targeted to these different individuals. Like he's talking, an HR director is going to want to see different things that your system provides than say a CEO is going to want to provide.
Didn't I tell him you wanted to cite a 2-page brochure to sell this thing? I said that. I said that. That's why I need him. We do want that, and we're going to talk about how you can help us. So,
Okay.
but I predicted it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
No, it's a good point. They have some of the same feelings, and that's why they came with the brochure for the honor system. Remember, what we're going to also do, we do want to come up with that, not to dismiss that, but we want to become the technology and tool system that allows people like People First, the honor system, to be our outreach program.
Right.
We're working as a team together. So we can develop internal tools that they make for their inserts or handouts and things like that they can purchase from us or whatever, however they're doing their business. And we work together to create that, and that's what we're looking for you for. That's one of the reasons you're here.
That seems like, you go to a psychologist or somebody in HR and say, here's my profile, look it over, see what it says, and then you take this test in 10 minutes and tell me if that doesn't describe you perfectly and whether this would benefit your company.
There would be a small insert. I don't think it'd be a detailed one we have on that.
It just,
Go ahead, finish it.
just something that was simple would show the five, maybe the...
You and I could probably work on that. How we take my philosophy. My philosophy is simple here. it's the daily report. We make phone calls, in some cases we don't have to, because we still have to make a phone call to people we know. Unlike how the daily report confused them initially, because it said, Brad experienced this. How many years did it take us to get Pam Obie to finally get success, and then they embezzled everything? Phone calls?
I'm done.
It took her. We sat there for over a year and a half, telling her, make X number of phone calls. Yeah. When they finally got success, her and Larry and took off, and they set up their own little office and started taking all our money.
Wow.
Okay. History, all I'm trying to do is get history out there, but in our case, we really were doing cold calling. In your case, you're not, because you know people. You guys are already connected. You're ahead of the game. My philosophy and my process onto this, we could spend all of our time and energy developing all the different little systems and kits like that, but if we focus on a message that says, look, this is something so different, don't look for the typical. We just want you to experience it first. And it goes into not how good the presentation is, but let's look at timeliness. If I don't have to waste a lot of time on 3 or 4 or 5 presentations, and I can walk away, I can handle more prospects, can't I? If I got to spend every meeting is an hour and I got to engage them 3 or 4 times to walk them through a process, that's the longer it gets, the harder it is to understand it. It's in my perspective, I want that, but more as a support documentation. And maybe a leadership thing, a 1-page, 2-page to direct them how to do the trial. And instead, what's going to sell is our relationship.
Well, you do the combination of the warm targets with a trial. It's a slam dunk.
With the combination of what?
Warm targets.
Warm targets.
Yeah, people we know.
Mm-hmm.
Along
With the trial is a slam dunk.
It's a slam dunk.
Because here's the difference, but I do want that, don't get me wrong. They intimately know these people that are engaging. They've been in business or a relationship for decades in some cases. And these are people that run businesses, schools, and things like that. So they already have a huge relationship. At the end of the day, anybody that buys something from somebody, they buy it because of a relationship, not because of the product usually. Okay, so that's why this education is important, so they can feel as confident as I do about what this can do, and so they can articulate it to them, the people already trust them.
Right.
So we're short-circuiting the sales process with this group. That's why we've worked so hard in the last month and a half to make this partnership work, as we see the long-term vision of it. We need more people. We don't need less people. We need more people. We're never going to be short of people. We need more all the time. So
It has to be the right fit, though.
And your brochure is confirmation of everything that you presented to them at your
Exactly.
first meeting. Because you're going to be meeting with the leadership of that company, not just the workers in it. And so you make your presentation, present the brochure, which confirms everything that we presented at our meeting, and then the decision is made. 1, 2, 3. Now we got to go to work.
I just let
1,
you
2,
guys
3,
finish that.
just like that.
I was just letting you
You know,
finish.
that's my perspective on it,
Yeah.
but that's what I know that.
Yeah, I was thinking more like a cold calling situation, like, you know,
Ron, are you following
someone
this
coming
plan?
up with a question
Not
against
initially,
it,
like Dennis said, these are
Yeah.
not cold
Yeah,
calls.
Ron.
What's that?
These are people
Yeah,
who
Ron.
already.
Yeah, I got Ron on the line.
But
Yeah.
ask him if he's following.
But this is the,
Ron, you following pretty good with
You
us?
still might get the validation issues and things, you know.
exactly, even with the people that we do know, the validation issue is still going to
Yeah.
come up because.
You and I can,
Name brand.
I'll be more than happy, Ron, to give you
Brochure
a
is
personal
gonna
coach
validate everything.
sometime
Well,
over the phone, and we'll
Yeah,
just
it-
dial
it'll
it directly
lead
with
along
each
with
other.
what
Gain
we
that
said.
validation.
Don't worry, anything you don't catch here
Especially if
today,
they
you
know
and I
you're not
can
gonna
do.
tell
I know
anything
people know
but
it's
the
difficult.
because they know you're gonna speak the truth.
Plus, since you can do it so quickly, I mean, they could do it in 10 minutes and
That's
say,
right.
wow, this really
Okay.
shows me.
Just
All right,
I
we
said,
ready?
It's not
Yeah.
gonna take an hour and a half.
Yeah.
It's not.
What's that?
Well, like you said, it's not gonna take an hour and a half and 5 meetings, you know.
No.
It's gonna
No.
be 1, 2, 3.
That's be. We're actually getting more complex today because you all are being resellers, and I'm explaining a little more than it really is. This is simple.
It's simple.
Oh, it is.
It's your shields, awareness. Did you get awareness at the first part? Knowing who you are, 5 to 10 minutes. No matter how 5 to 10 minutes, you can also know who all your peers are.
Oh, yeah.
Every one of your employees, your managers, everybody has the same information. Are we not on an equal playing field now?
Yeah.
And guess what? There's nobody that's actually the expert other than the people that spend the time to become experts. So as the managers are not getting more information,
Thank you.
than the individual. And when that individual feels he's equal, is he more engaged or less engaged? That's what we're trying to do. So the first part with that awareness, acceptance and understanding is critical. Now it's the buy-in tools. Belief was part of it. The other one is the attitude scale. And look that up. Attitude scale. We have an attitude scale from 1 to 28. Bottom, murder, suicide. Top, success, love, excited, good energy. Now I'll have to go through and tell a few stories about the attitude scale. Let's imagine, I think most of you have heard this before, but if you have two people, identical twins, that got the same college education. So they're pretty intelligent, they even got A's. But the basic demeanor and attitude of one was someplace down here in the 13-12 range, whatever and thoughtless, versus somebody just not all the way to the top, but steady and feels good. Which one do you think most likely got hired for the job?
The latter.
Who do you think grew more in the job?
The latter.
Who got the promotion? Who got the raises? Who probably elevated themselves into management and probably elevated themselves out to another company that paid them even more? Is it the person up here or is it the person down here? Now, I hear objections all the time. Oh, I know some people down here. Great. Does that mean you're going to come down here with them? Or are you going to call that an exception like I did? There are some people that survive down here.
Exceptional.
But the reason they're surviving usually is because they put the fear in other people.
That's it.
Okay? But we're doing a culture change around here, aren't we? We know that even though they're productive, they probably cost us a lot more production. Because when we did that arithmetic of attitude, we know we've got a problem. We just never financially were able to put our finger on it. About how Red Rick, out there on the production floor with 60 people working around him, has got everybody ticked off all the time. And everybody's taking breaks just to go away from Rick. People are hiring and quitting. We went through and looked at, we know turnover at $14 an hour is about $16,000 a year cost for us if I've got every person I got to replace. So am I going to let Red Rick make me replace 5 people every year, costing me $75,000 because I'm afraid to fire Red Rick because he's so productive? He ain't that productive.
Rick, you're gone.
Rick's gone. We don't get that. But that's the reality. The AOA puts into perspective for people, the arithmetic of attitude, puts into perspective for companies that have already known it, that negative human behavior has financial consequences. They intuitively know it, but they were never able to identify it. What the AOA does, just like the profile does, is it cognitively brings you aware and makes you think about, could my sales be better? Well, if my product is perfect, and my sales, I believe, could be 20% higher, why is it if my product's perfect? It's a human issue, right? So, do my salespeople need more training in the form of, we can teach them how to read people? We can teach them how to communicate better with their prospects? Why? Because they don't need a dashboard. They're outside sales. All they need to know is how to become a psychic. We're going to train your salespeople to be psychics. How to talk better to their customers. So is that where it's at? Or do you have the wrong people in sales? You got some guy that avoids conflict, but you're expected to make 10 sales calls every week. Now they're visualizing.
Now they can see it.
And these are the same things you need to repeat, visualizing for them. You need to run their imagination. Then you go to the production. We already talked about the Red Rick guy there causing everybody to leave. So that turns into turnover. How about diversity issues? They might have, you go into like Hitachi and everything, you got Filipinos, you got Mexicans, you got, actually believe it or not, very few Anglo-Saxon white people. But you got like 4 different, more than that, it's like 4 different dialects of Asia alone. And there's like 400 people working there. And there's tension. And some of it's because of language barriers, but this is something that can unify them on a diversity issue to say, hey, we all speak a little bit of English here, but let's get to know each other a little bit better. I want to know what Tran Wong is motivated by. He might be Thai or something, but because we don't speak the same language all the time, I don't really know what he's motivated by. Now I got something to talk to him about. even if it's in pidgin English. So there's so many different applications you have with these tools in those 10 areas of the arithmetic of attitude. It's your job as consultants to run that business owner's imagination. The first thing is they run through the arithmetic of attitude and say, what's the area I think I can either increase sales the most in or decrease expenses in? And once they've identified that, then we give them a trial and show you how powerful these tools are on awareness, acceptance, and communication. And we walk them through it like that. When they see the results back, say, wow, that's powerful stuff. Yeah? So, now, back up to the other thing I like to tell is a story about this attitude scale, how you can buy it in there is the story about the man and the wife. He's got out of college, got married, and he finally got his dream job. Went to work for Microsoft. And always been dreaming about Microsoft. So where was he on the attitude scale? Excited, love, and even success. And for the first couple of weeks, it was great. Oh, I work at Microsoft. Told all his friends I work at Microsoft and everything. Wife's all happy. Hey, my husband works at Microsoft. All excited. And then kind of like, it's good energy because after a while, the newness, like your car. I mean, raise your hand, you bought a car, and you're so excited the first couple of weeks you got the car, and then after a while, it's like, it's just my car now. Everybody I know has looked at me in my car, so I can't, hey, you want to see me in my car again? You don't do it. It becomes just part of you. And that's what happens when we get into a workforce, because attitude has momentum. And this is what I want to demonstrate. This is why people have to buy into this. So automatically, even though I got the success job of my dreams, my attitude started going down. It started with a simple thought. I'm pretty good now, but I actually went backwards. Why did I just say, you know, I'm at Microsoft, I'm going to have a new division for Microsoft. That's my vision. This is what I'm working on. I'm going to talk to all these people about it. Most people don't do that. Some people do in Microsoft, and that's why you have so many different divisions. They develop new things. But most people go in there, they finally got their job, and they stop. But very seldom do you see attitude stay stagnant right where it's at. It's go one direction or the other. So it's up to you as an individual to keep your attitude going. You agree with all this? I'm glad you're here. I like seeing it from your perspective too. Talking to Matthias there. Now take the same wife and husband. After a while, he just felt like part of the same machine. Microsoft. Just in Redmond, Washington alone, it's got something like 30-some thousand employees. I'm just one of the guys. I still believe in people. Maybe he went down here steady. They started having some workplace issues. Somebody he didn't get along with. I don't know, they didn't work in the same department. Just somebody gave him a bad look every day. And that kind of escalated between each other. It was like, you see that jerk off? Do you know who that guy Ted is? Ted's a jerk. How many workplaces does that happen and people talk about each other? Everywhere. Okay. And so he never knew how to deal with it, did he? He didn't have the Huey tools. He didn't have these, understand who Ted was. He just made an assumption, and then that kind of escalated, or de-escalated in a way, into something worse, to a point where he wasn't feeling good at work. He started becoming insecure because Ted also knows so-and-so in the management and everything. And this guy didn't know how to do it. And he brought that home as insecure. His wife's like, what's going on? And he said, I'm not going to talk about it. And so she's whatever. And then when she became whatever, he's like, well, what's your problem? So because I become thoughtless. When he became thoughtless, she got moody. When she got moody, he's getting frustrated. When he got frustrated, she became a know-it-all. She's trying to tell him what to do at work and everything like that. He didn't like that. So he got nasty. When he got nasty to her, she got mean. You see where it's going? We allow events, outside events, control us. And that's why you see 5 different areas. Home, work, socially, school, and personally. What number am I? If I'm not aware that everything in my life is a relationship, that's one of the sections we're going to go into here, and that every relationship I need to have a measurement or to know where I'm at, that I'm positively making a relationship, I'm going to automatically fall down because I'm not stagnant. I'm going one way or the other, right? So these are awareness tools. These are sustainability tools. And I'm going to quickly go into some of the next ones Report. 7, 8. Well, actually, I have to go make sure. Okay, before I get in, I'm going to get into a little bit, show the attitude section later. You got it in your book, but I'm going to get into the reward. Where's what's missing out of here? I did, I have it there. I'll get the relationship rewards later. I want to move on to the next section here. A source of fear and faith. Hey, okay.
This is for a new work.
Huh?
All this is for a new work.
Yeah, it's in the
Yeah, it's
workbook.
in
You got it.
that little tiny one I printed out for you. So you can follow along.
I'll email it to you too, because when it's printed out, it's really tiny.
Yes,
Yes.
my perfect date is telling me we need to respell neutral.
Which one? Oh, yeah, he's got that one. You
Which
got
one?
that? Catch that?
What? Where?
He's got that misspelled on this too. Neutral.
Okay.
You got NUE and NEU. That's the same one over here. It needs to say Freddie. 2 things. It said U because he was just copying off the other system. Let me get you that soda real quick here. What's that? Oh, I'm gonna go for a soda right now.
Anybody wants some fresh coffee, it's in there. Except for Honor, Honor doesn't get any.
Take a short.
Did Brad catch that? Did he caught the EU? That's pretty cool.
Brad, what?
And they say, did he caught the EU? That's pretty
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah, Brad will catch that.
Way to go, Brad.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, you and I can touch base later on, Ron. We'll make sure you get a copy of all these things. I think you got a good gist of where we're going with it. Okay, great. So Ron's got to leave here. Honor, go down to his church. So,
Roger that.
all right, everybody's good. Anything you want to convey to them, Ron? Anything you want to convey to anybody before we hang up?
Essentially, someone can read with some of the stuff together. I don't think it's going to be as difficult for me. I think it's something that's to be used by just about every time that I think of.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm excited.
All right, great. I got you on speakerphone, so we'll say goodbye to you, Ron, and thank you for participating.
See you later,
Okay,
Ron.
Ron, nice meeting you.
Bye.
Bye, Ron.
And,
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you. Meanwhile,
Yeah, sometimes you get those through with Happy New Year.
Yeah.
Because it's like, it is
You want to know why it feels different? Because we're working. Everybody from Halloween to the first one of the year, business to business sales, gone. Because everybody, oh, we're planning a Christmas party, oh, we're taking a vacation, nobody's ready. It's BS.
Yeah.
It's-
You're right. It's, I remember my father saying, you got to work when everybody else is sleeping. I think the way you're going to make sure you
I work with my child that's what only told me more time.
It is the first week or so.
That was in your case. That's
We're not
what
going to allow that to happen. See, somebody's got to start the trend. So we're deciding to start the trend. We're not laying down during the season. That's that drive part. I've done it for years and years and years. All right. Okay.
You read it already.
well, yeah. That's what I mentioned.
This is the part that gets really interesting here. And I got this, the source of fear and faith. There's actually 2. The next section will show pretty much the same thing. It says, which side are you on? But yeah, well, I got it here. The interesting part about the source of fear and faith is it's something that's automatic. Now, if you can look over here, you see on the left side bad events, on the right side good events. It's funny, at Center Rose Juvenile Facility, I did this and talked to this kid, and I said, okay, let's talk about a bad event. I'm in jail, man. Okay.
Yeah, more bad than that.
Really? I said, really? Why are you in jail? That can't possibly be your fault. No, man. Okay, so he had a bad event. And I'm going to show you, this is automatic. It's automatic. From your feelings and what's in your imagination to a bad event, it's automatic. Do you believe that? It will have, just a matter of time. If you don't change how you feel,
You have to change.
the event will be bad. It may not always be the jail. It could be divorce. It could be homelessness. It could be anything. But a bad event will happen automatically if you don't change your attitude. So, well, why did they have a bad event? Well, it was a bad action. You jacked the car. Jacked the car. Well, you didn't think when you jacked the car you could go to jail? How was that somebody else's fault? How was that somebody else's fault? Did somebody tell you to jack the car? Did you get paid to jack? Because if I had a jacked car, I want to get paid. Lots.
Yeah,
Yeah, serious.
enough to give
Like
me.
$1 million. Bound money bill pay me $1 million to jack
So
$10,000.
it's bad policeman fault.
Yeah.
They caught him.
Why'd you jack the car? Would you say it's bad attitude? Yeah. Not a bad attitude. What's bad attitude? What'd you believe? That came from, I have a bad attitude. Would your attitude be bad because you believe all things were possible and everything was great? You live life without sin. You could live life and have a perfect marriage, wonderful, beautiful children, good job. Is that why you have a bad attitude? No, I don't got any of those. I ain't none of that. So bad attitudes come from what you really don't have. And what you don't have, you believe you'll never have. So that would come from your beliefs, right? Well then where the hell do beliefs come from? Look down there, you got 10 million nerves in your body. They're attached to something called the vagus nerve in your body. 7 vital organs are attached to that. And when horrible things happen, the more horrible or even the more positive things happen, automatically imprinted into your brain, literally this is a medical fact, is things are imprinted into your brain permanently. Beliefs or pictures in your imagination. Images. Imagination is an image. And those beliefs of everything come from, it could be from childhood, from when you're a teenager, adult, everything that's happening to you. The new thing we've come up, Brad, you've never heard about this one, but the new way for me to make an analogy for that is, you have this room, it's an empty bedroom, just like this room right here. All over the floor, you have 10,000 pieces of paper. Everything's a bad comment. Oh, you're never going to amount to nothing. You're a horrible son. You're a horrible daughter. You're this. You're ugly. You're fat. You never amount to anything. You don't have a college degree. You don't have this. You got bad grades. Every negative thing has been taught to us over life. And what do we call that in the psychology field? What type of behavior is that? You have 2.
Negative behavior?
Now, you have born,
Learned.
learned behavior. Where does learned behavior come from? Repetition. We become a lot like our parents, even if we can't stand what our parents do, because we're so familiar with it. When we don't feel that, we feel out of it. We see people that, men raise their children that beat women. The child protects the mom, but goes on and beats his wife. Women have the same type of things. They've treated a man horrible in their life, and they saw their mother do it to their father, even if she had good reason to it, and they learned, that's how I'm going to treat a man too. Not because they wanted to, because they didn't know any better. So same thing with all these pictures that are in your imagination. Thousands of things. If you ask somebody, would you say negative comments, observations, experiences you've had in your life number in the ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, or 10,000s? Most people are thousands to 10,000. I mean, every comment that's ever been made to you. Over a lifetime. Thousands or 10,000s. If I ask the same question about positive things, it's usually in the hundreds. Tens or hundreds. So there's always, our society has gotten so ugly and evil that we don't even know how to positively comment to people. We don't know how to compliment people. We don't know how to recognize people. anymore. We're all selfish. We really are. Our society has become selfish. Would you agree? Overall? Not all of us. I'm still selfish in many ways myself, though. I mean, nobody's perfect. But that's the reality of it. So we got 10,000 pieces of paper. If you had to go through and look at each one, pick it up. Oh, you're a bad guy, you're horrible, you're stuck, you're ugly, you got zits. The repetition is running through your imagination, it's controlling you, and if that's how you feel the rest of your life, you're going to have that bad again. So what I say is you need to take, one, go out to Walmart, get yourself a bunch of those boxes, you know, those little storage boxes where you can put a description of what's inside of it. About, you know, however many you need, 5, 10, 15, 20. And you start filing through it just like you'd clean your car, clean your bedroom, or whatever. Oh, that's negative comments about my looks. No college. I'm going to put them in file boxes. When I get done, they're manageable now. Is it easier to manage 10 file boxes or 10,000 sheets of paper you can't even read?
10 file boxes.
10 file boxes.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to put them, the only thing left over is the little picture, the pages of positive things. Who am I? And I just learned some positive things about myself through this profile. I'm fine just the way I am. I just need to know how to get more of it. And where I get more of it. Okay? Now I'm going to take those pieces of paper and that's what's going to be in my imagination. I'm going to think positive thoughts. It's automatic. Now, for instance, unfortunately, you guys we like to use an example of, you notice, raise your hand if you've experienced this before. You're in a room with somebody at work or something like that, and you smell pizza and somebody brings in a pizza or something like that, or somebody starts talking about pizza even, and you're hungry. All of a sudden your mouth starts salivating. Has that ever happened to you? Why did your mouth start salivating? Anybody?
You're thinking about pizza.
Well, the complex answer is some chemical reaction that activated.
Wait a minute, hold on. Wait a minute. There's no pizza here. There's no pizza, right? Reality is there's no pizza.
Right.
But in your imagination, you saw the pepperoni.
It's right there.
You like green pepper?
But you know it to be
Sausage.
yes.
You know that old Pizza Hut pizza they used to have with the devils, not the stuffed crust, that devil stuff where it had so much cheese in it, the butter out of the cheese was like streaming on the side. You know what I'm talking about, huh? Okay? And our mouth wanted to break it down. Because that's why you salivate, to break food down. There was no pizza in reality, but in your imagination you saw pizza. So that's the power of your mind. So don't let anybody tell you they cannot control what's in their imagination.
Does Subway do pizza? No, just
You gotta have pizza now. Everybody wants that pizza. The Honor's a vegetarian over here.
Yeah.
I did say you pizza.
You got a slice.
So if you go down here, and I'm combining these first two graphs, the source of fear and faith. So the source is your imagination. And you go to the second page, it says, which side are you on? It's the same graphic. We talked about a few more things here. You have two things. You have you. You are what your shield is depicting you as. You are these 5 great things that communicates in a certain way of personality, has a certain nature, and live with 5 talent families that get you through life. That's what your 4 shields are doing. And you're focused on the 7 things in life that everybody's looking for. And so what everybody's looking for is a better self-image, which comes from 1 and 2. The more positive family relationships and more positive friendships, which you want to get the relationship reward, you'll see what those relationships are, determines what my self-image is. If I feel great about myself and I have a positive self-image, I can do anything. I can be anywhere I want. I can do all these things. The likelihood is, as a matter of fact, it's a medical fact too, the less stressed and the better we feel about ourselves, the more healthy we are. How's that? Does anybody know what the number one killer of people is in the world? Stress. Heart attack, cardio arrest from stress. It's not from smoking, it's not from alcohol, it's not from drugs, it's not anything else.
Working with Dennis?
It's It's stress.
Don't stress out, guys.
No, actually, Tony's the one stressing out.
So everybody else, while they're working on all other things, we have a company that we're gonna try to save people's lives in the nation by reducing stress. And the way you do that is you find out how to have better family relationships, friendships, so I have a good self-image, so I have a better health. Now think about this, and these 7 things make it kind of simple. If you have all those things, so you got this great self-image and you have better health, that means you're confident, you're inspired, you're positive, and you're going to show up because you're healthy. You can make that interview, or you're going to show up at work in general. More or less financial prosperity. If I'm positive, I've got a great attitude, and I can be anything I want. I believe that. And I'm healthy enough to do that. The sky's the limit, isn't it?
Good marketing too, guys.
Excellent. Excellent.
Reduce days of time off for being sick.
Yes. Better help.
So now I have better health and more financial prosperity, which leads me to my free time. Free time isn't free because I want to enjoy it. I need financial prosperity to enjoy that free time because I want to really pay back my wife and my kids for putting up with my dedication to my job. And I want to reward them with 2 weeks vacation to the Bahamas. Or I just want to take them on a trip to New Orleans, visit Bobby.
Take 'em on a cruise.
Or cruise.
Take 'em on a cruise.
Or a football game. Or a baseball game. Or out to eat. I need money to enjoy free time. So the necessary evil, money is, it's not evil to have money. Money is a measurement tool of where I am. It's how human beings exchange goods and services. So it's not evil to want the money.
So that's a direct correlation between stress and money, is that what you're saying?
Yep. You knew that. I just answered her on that. And that's what leads to free. When you have those first 6 things, that's what leaves you your peace of mind. Think about that. Let's test that. You got great family relationships. You got great friendships. I mean, everybody that you have friendships with, home, work, school, socially. And you feel great about yourself. There's nobody can bring me down. And I'm healthy as not the opposite. That's not even a good metaphor. What am I healthy as? I need something.
Don't look at me. I don't know how.
Oh, I'm healthy as an athlete. Okay, I'm healthy as an athlete. There we go.
Health is a horse.
Yes, boy.
I just fell down. So I'm healthy. And I'm very happy also with how much money I make. I got savings. I got disposable income.
No debt.
And I'm enjoying, as a matter of fact, I'm going back to number 1 or 2, I'm enjoying more time with my family and my friends because I do have that disposable income, which means they're not stressed and they're not tearing me down. Everything's great in life. Enjoying my free time. Do I have peace of mind?
Oh, of course.
I might still want more, I might still be striving with things, but let me ask you this, am I going to be more likely to get it because I have peace of mind?
Yes.
So I can go on to the next challenge?
Right. Think clearly.
So,
It is all connected, yes.
so again, from a marketing standpoint, reduce stress and increase productivity.
That's it. They work together.
All right. See, now we're really going along here. I already went to the movie things, I added up the 7 things I just went through. We're on boomerangs, we're almost done. Now, actually I haven't finished the attitudes. Oh no, that's interactive. Okay. I want to go through, before I go into the boomerangs, I'm going to go right here to this portion that shows relationships and rewards. Everything's a relationship. And one of the things we need to do is visualize stories to tell in these workshops. Your relationships in family are parents, siblings, children, significant others, extended family. What are your rewards? What do you get from your family? What's an emotional reward you get?
Love.
That's one of them. This is the Family Feud. The number 1 answer. Actually, number 1 is acceptance. In all 4 of these categories of family, friends, work, and education, acceptance is the number 1 thing that everybody really wants. If you're a human being, the most important thing to feel is accepted. And you get that, believe it or not, everywhere. Friends, our best friends, acquaintances, and social friends. Work, employees, managers, owners, customers, education, students, teachers, counselors, faculty. Acceptance from all these people in our life are important, even complete strangers. And I like to take this one out. I'm going to actually ask a question around the table. If you go to a dance, a swing dance thing, or a salsa dance lessons, and you see, 100 people you don't know, do you have a relationship with those people?
No.
Really? Do you?
Yeah, you do.
Why?
You all came for the same reason, to dance.
Right. And if I walked into there and I had 100 people look at me and say, who the heck is he? Why is he here? And they made me shrink and quiver and feel like I was nothing. One, I wouldn't stay. Did it affect me?
Yes.
It did. Because I didn't go there for no reason, like you said. I went there because I wanted to dance. Somebody made me feel horrible, and I walked out that door, and it's a swing dance place or a salsa place, not a lot of them around, so I didn't probably find another one that night, so I went home feeling happy.
Not accepted.
What's running through my mind when I got home?
I'm nothing.
Been rejected.
Why?
I'm not worthy.
What came to my mind? I walked out of there, everybody gave it. Was I ugly? Was I fat? Did I stink?
But was that so?
Did they know anything about my personal life? Did they know anything about me? So what's running through my mind? They're complete strangers. What's running through my mind is whatever's in my imagination. Those 10,000 sheets of paper.
Everything negative comes out because it could be one of them.
Because you don't know.
Right.
I would say, I can deal with yes, I can deal with no, I can deal with black, I can deal with white. What I can't deal with is the maybe gray crap in the middle.
Right.
That's called not knowing. We've had this. We went to that gray area. They had some big plans. I had some big plans. We weren't talking about it. We were both feeling kind of like, how did you feel during that time? And then we put the meeting together.
Stressed.
Yes.
Stressed.
We didn't deal with our gray maybe areas.
But it took us a while, we did.
And that's how we feel whenever we're put in a situation. So we have a relationship socially wherever we go, whether we're accepted or not, and how we see how people view us is a relationship. So everything is a relationship. And what we're trying to do is get people to take that response and realize, okay, how I did. Well, one, I can not go to places like that if it's because of that type of crowd. Maybe they're just a clique. But that's not what I saw when I walked in there, did I? I walked in and thinking I got my leotards on, great, do my salsa. Got a little flashy shirt on.
Well, that's the reason right
Looking
there.
hot and smoky. I drink a fifth of vodka before I get to do it. I feel a little more sexy than that.
You had your salsa dance off.
We won't talk about some of our Dennis's
You were doing the Leontine waltz.
dance routines.
Actually, if I was inebriated or something like that, I wouldn't care. I'd walk in there anyway. I said, you got 100 people, the ones that look bad. No, we just didn't know, and we reflect on ourselves what we believe. And that's how these things are tied in. You got to get people to believe that. So you really need to take your stuff, put it in your boxes. You can deal with these boxes.
Yeah.
You're still going to feel it. Why was that? You're going to put it up and say, you know what? No, I know I look good. No, I know I'm a good person. I know I just don't need to be there anymore. I don't have to go to that place.
Right.
It's them. It's not me.
Right.
It's them. Another choice you can make. So choices start coming into here. So the family rewards we get, recognition, support, love, physical attention, acceptance, are rewards we get from our friends, sharing and caring, physical, social activities, listening, support, acceptance. The rewards we get from work, opportunity, employment, security, raises, promotions, experience, credibility, acceptance. In education, positive learning, vocations, leadership, diplomas and degrees, and acceptance. There's a reward, and people need to understand there is a reward for what they're going to be doing next, which is boomerangs. And what is a boomerang? Somebody give me a definition of boomerang.
Crocodile Dundee.
What does a boomerang do? throw a boomerang out, it's supposed to come back, right?
Supposed to.
Which is why it does. It goes around. What goes around eventually comes
Goes
around.
around, comes around. Oh, that's what I was gonna say.
So it says right there.
Oh, it does?
Only in
Comes around.
Australia.
Oh, okay.
If it doesn't come back, it's a rock.
Thank you, that's right.
Only in Australia, because I've tried every boomerang I bought, and it never came back.
Oh.
And then somebody said, oh, you know, maybe that's just a south, north of the equator and south, so I thought maybe in Australia. I never came back, so, but it's supposed to.
You gotta throw it with your left
You
hand.
gotta hold your
I
mouth.
didn't try that, yeah.
You gotta hold your mouth right.
Oh, actually, I never finished off that.
You gotta be under 6 foot.
Before I go back to the boomerangs, I need to finish the other thing.
All these variables.
Important to say.
Fear and
Yeah.
That graph we had on there is the events, and I have another one. I want to do it like more like a Facebook does timeline. Is I gave a graphic change to Ed instead of a calendar. There's two.
Yeah, there's two. There's a different, yeah, that's.
Next one.
Yeah, that's it.
All right. This is supposed to over here. It's supposed to say Freddy's two things. Separate you from other people and slowly destroy you. You know who Freddy is? Who's Freddy?
Who's Freddy? I got Freddy.
Huh?
Don't go to sleep.
What does Freddy do?
He
He's
actually, when you dream, he actually haunts your dreams.
So you're asleep?
So,
It's only in your dreams?
only in your head.
What happens when you're in reality?
But you know what? It has the effect, because if he kills you in your sleep, then you're dead.
Okay. But when you're awake, what can he do to you?
Nothing.
Ah. So why are we using Freddy? Because in reality, Freddy can't touch us.
Right.
When we're asleep, or when we're dreaming, or we're having our imagination, we're running through the imagination realm.
Imagination.
Freddy gets us.
Yeah.
Freddy gets us when we take those 10,000 sheets of paper and we say, what's this mean? Freddy says, I'll tell you what it means. You're ugly. Nobody likes you. That guy's a jerk. They're going around my back. I can't trust them. Slowly separate you from people and destroys you. So remember when we were talking about Freddy's? Look, we got these Freddy's.
Yeah, you should have a picture of him afraid too.
They made Ed Fernandez made a picture, took my picture from Bayfest and made me into Freddy Krueger. Okay, so this is called recognition. There are exceptions. Some people they can't help themselves. But most people are not evil, bad people. They don't get out of bed, put a foot on the floor and say, I wonder who I could tear up today. I want to beat on somebody today. Most people just don't do that, do they? And the ones that do already know who they're thinking about anyway. So it's not like a way of life for them. They might be hurt and want to get back at somebody, but nobody really gets out of bed in general and gets up and says, how do I go hurt people today? So why do they do it? If they're not thinking about it, why do they do it? Good question, isn't it? I have a simple answer. Good people feeling bad.
Feeling bad.
Good people feeling bad. What's good about you? Those 7 things.
Feeling bad.
You have a way to go after your 7 things. Well, before you didn't know what you were even motivated by. I asked you one question with 60 variations of it, and you finally figured out what makes you feel good, didn't you? Now, we gave you an attitude scale, and we've got some other tools that says, okay, how do I get these 5 things in general? All of it. But in general, just these 5 things. How do I get these things at home, work, school, socially, and feel it personally? Oh, we've got a what you get grid, which is another tool we have in here. So you can identify the things, measure them 1 to 10, 10 being great, 1 being none at all, and say, how do I raise those up and develop a problem resolution to it? So I know what I'm motivated by, and I can start thinking about career fields and education fields and jobs I want to interview to and things I really want to become now, because I know the 5 talent families. I'm going to naturally succeed in sales. So why would I go to be an accountant? Because that's what my high school, seriously, my high school people told me to be an accountant. So I went to be an accountant. I was successful at it, but I was never happy. So I left. High hotels. I was never happy. Always moving on. Okay, so I ended up in something like this. I can promote. So it's not really sales. It's just promotion, this teaching, this sincerity. Hey, welcome. We got 2 new participants in this little demonstration. I call them Ratfink and McGruff. I renamed their dogs. Patty loves it. They just look like a Ratfink and McGruff.
Yeah.
I might be judgmental. I'm a good person feeling bad with it.
Yeah, you're putting out some negative vibes.
That's a pretty picture.
I think they're endearing to me. So anyways, to get those 7 things, and we use boomerangs, which we're going to get into the specifics of the boomerangs.
Photoshop that all in.
I showed him your Freddy picture, sorry.
Okay.
It's all right.
Yeah, for now on in this class, we're doing things my way.
You were talking about dogs.
I want everybody to sit
sorry.
up straight.
Yeah, that one.
You know,
Everybody perked right up then.
it's hard for me to be serious, even when I'm trying to be. So, anyways, back to this, the 7 things. So we have these tools. I'm just trying to recap here. Does everybody see the connection?
Yeah.
We have awareness. We've learned a little bit about how to identify and recognize other people and accept them for who they are. And now we understand things better. Our roles, individuals, team workers, and our role within a business or a relationship. And we know how to go about getting them a little bit. We're going to show you specifically with boomerangs. But we know what we're focused on. We're focused on those 7 things, that little list. At homework, play, homework, socially, personally, and educationally. But we got Freddie. Bad thoughts, bad memories. Freddie's working on us all the time. So are you going to let Freddie take you down the attitude scale? And you know Freddie's usually dealing with you in a dream state, so it's not really real. You know you can deal with good or bad, yes or no. It's that maybe area. So wouldn't you say it would probably be a good policy to bring myself, and I say this to these guys all the time, I'm in that maybe gray area. I say it to my daughter all the time. I talk to her several times, a couple times a day usually, out in Seattle. And I always deal with her relationships and everything. And she'll come up and she'll go, Dad, what is, Jeremy said this, what do you think that knows? I said, sounds to me like you're in a gray area again. What happens when you get in a gray area? I know, I feel bad. You feel bad? Oh, get yourself out of the gray area. Okay, Dad. And she knows what to do. She knows to go ask the question, confront the situation. I can deal with yes and I can deal with no. I can deal with bad and I can deal with good. At least I know what I'll be doing. Instead of letting Freddie get a hold of it and making it worse. Or we go back to that peace person that never said anything. They never articulated or brought to the forefront what their problem was. We've seen those at work too. That person that's quiet and everything all the time. You ever, another thought sidebar, watch TV and they had like Jeffrey Dahmer's one of those, Ted Bundy, serial killers. And what did they say about him when they did the biographies on him? Oh, he was such a nice guy. I never knew. These people were exploding inside. So he thinks most likely to explode at work. The guy that's exploding every day, do you know how he feels? Or the person that is going on quietly and everybody picks on him? Bullyism. Why is it these guys, oh, he was kind of an outcast. He was a quiet kid and hung around just a few certain people. We're seeing it on the news every day now. Shootings in schools. They need an outlet. That's why this has to be an educational system. Okay? So, anyway, the question is, which side are you on? And if you go to which side are you on, let Freddie control things. He's going to look at 10,000 sheets of paper. That's going to be an automatic behavior. It's going to lead you to bad events, whether it be a divorce or a jail, no job, whatever. It's all going to be automatic. You have a choice. Live on top of that attitude scale and and focus on these 7 things. Use the tools that you're being taught. And you have dashboards for it. So, all right. So the 7 things, what goes around comes around. Who likes the picture of you, man? I like the picture of you, man. It's a heck of a lot better. So look what the family relationships look like. Better friendships, everybody smiling. I love this graphic for some reason. Had a shield on his chest. That's a new one. We just got that day and a half ago from my head. Okay. Better Health. Fitness guy. Kind of looks like Russell on a treadmill over here. It does look. Ed's met Russell for him. News guy. I'm not sure who that is. More financial prosperity. Fishing. There's just some good pictures. FaceTime. And then you look at with Freddie when he wins. Do you like that picture? Which is Freddie Krieger running it. Bad boomerangs full of fear and pain. Your boy being sad, mom and dad arguing. Troubled friendships, not getting along. Leading you to poor self-image. Looking in the mirror, see what he sees in the mirror? A pig. Sickness. Struggle with money. Less free time. And look at the lady with her head in her hands. How many people you've known or have been yourself to the point where you just want to give up? That's what you're dealing with. You really only have two choices. Be positive or be negative. Simple as that. Feeling importance. This is kind of key because we're getting to the boomerangs. Now we talked about, and this is on the what goes around section here. Yeah, what goes around comes around. Now again, look at the pictures of the people moving, just hands are up in the air for the fun people, control people, and that's a sun, by the way, behind them. That's a pyramid. And if you look at those icons, they're used in some of the psychology fields to explain the 4 different personalities too. So, fun people are looking for approval for where they act. So it's not just saying, let's go out and compliment everybody. I suggest you never do that. What do they call you when you do that?
Brown noser.
Any other names? Maybe you cannot repeat here?
I was being nice.
A kid, okay.
Yeah. Suck up.
Posterior smoocher? That work? They call you posterior smoochers. I've heard all of them. Why do they call you that? Who's been in a workplace where you said, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to be a posterior smoocher. Because that's how they see it, right? Who said that? Freddie? Or them? Do you think that person didn't want to have a good relationship when he got out of bed? Because everybody's looking for what? Acceptance, right? Being told to do that? Why does he feel that's a posterior smoocher to go be nice to people? Freddie getting a hold of that. The other thing is, the reason we feel we cannot compliment people, first is we don't know who they are. We work with them, but we don't know them, do we? Do you know Matt? Hand me your worksheet. I'll show you how quick your profile, your whole profile. I'll show you how quick.
Now we know.
There you go, bro.
Now you know me.
You know that quickly.
Oh.
That's it.
That's it.
Everybody through the dashboard, through the report.
Yep.
You know each other. So now you're aware of other people.
That's right.
You can accept it.
And we don't mind complimenting you either.
But now it's really important how you compliment them. And we got something in the old Huey system called Recipe for a Boomerang. It'll be back in the new system too. It's not on Jack's site yet.
Okay.
But the recipe for the boomerang, it takes your 4 shields and identifies first your personality type. What is that? Fun people, or energizers in people first terminology, are looking for approval the way they act. It's hard to admit, isn't it?
No,
As a
I
fun
know
person?
that about me.
We know it, but it's easy. But isn't it hard to say I like approval the way I act? I can sing bad karaoke and I still want approval.
Yeah, still just tell me I'm good.
Just tell me I'm
I don't
good.
care. I don't care if I'm bad. I have actually told people that many times. I'm like, I don't care how much I suck.
I
Just
don't
tell me you like
care how
it.
bad I am. So I make jokes up there when I sing too. I change the lyrics on purpose. I don't like the way the other guy did first anyway. Why? My fifth feeling in my shield is unique. That'd be different. So I change the lyrics sometimes. But they want approval for the way they act. And if you look at their feeling of importance cup, see how big the cup is on the top of the sheet? Fun people and control people need more of this. Believe it or not, that controller, the guy that's like telling everybody what to do, Him and the fun people need more acknowledgement than the peace and the perfect people, which are the introverts.
We call it esteem needs.
The feeling of importance. Their self-esteem, their level of feeling, you see, it takes quite a bit because their cup is always half full.
Yeah.
Okay? The perfect people's not quite there, but the peace people, they need very little. You just recognize that peace person like Bobby's over there. He likes to be known that, you know, he's an important integral part, but if you give him a boomerang, well, my definition of boomerang, I'll give you in a little bit, they're real powerful boomerangs. It's not just saying, I like Bobby, he's a nice guy. That kind of feels good. That's acceptance. But if you said, Bobby, I want to tell you, I'm so proud that not only have you come onto the team, everybody here has been counting on you because of the relationships that you've built and it can immediately make success with this company. These two guys and everybody that they brought on board with you, they need you more than anybody right now. You're going to be the catalyst for this whole company. How's that feel? Because that's true.
It is the truth.
We've told him that many times.
Right, but that's what I'm saying.
Accept
That's a boomerang.
responsibility.
That's a boomerang.
Responsibility.
We're not saying just, hey, Bobby's a nice guy.
Yeah, you're not being generic, you're being specific.
Right. You're picking out something that you recognize they do automatically. It affects you, them, and other people, or other people, and has an impact on an organization. That's a boomerang. So,
We took it one step further. We asked him to replicate himself.
My 3 twin brothers.
he called you the spearhead. You're the spearhead to this.
Don't you have kids? Haven't you replicated yourself?
A little bit.
See now,
That's a good one.
when you look at this boomerang thing, you see, did I show Bobby respect? Okay, that was identifying his personality type. That's what he needed to hear. I also, if you notice, I pointed out clearly who it impacted because peace people are about getting along with others. And so I made a connection to everybody. That made it feel even more sincere, didn't it? I'm not, if I said, you know, it's still positive, I can say, hey Bob, you affect everybody. But when I made it this guy, that guy with the Superman chest, that's how it feels.
Yes.
We're becoming better communicators here. That's different than the opposite personality of peace, which is control. They want appreciation for what they do. We do a lot. We get things done. Our focus and emphasis on life is getting it done. Okay?
100%.
So, the boomerang to a control person, identifying the personality, is one we know, controllers, and it's all within this material, sir. I'm just kind of going over cursory here. They deal with bullet points, getting to the point, goals, objectives, and do it quick. The attention span of a controller, when you send a boomerang to them, it means it's short and quick. Bobby, peaceful person, all peaceful people, like that soft stuff. Controller says, man, we hit $20,000 in sales this month thanks to you. That's enough. That's enough for a controller. But you got to do often. They want to hear that every day. Their feeling of importance cup, it's a bigger cup and it needs to be filled up more often. Same thing with fun people. I love you, you're doing sales, you're doing great. You give me a compliment on how I'm doing on making contacts and meeting with people, I'll talk to you forever about it. They know. I get excited about this stuff. Sensitivity, the perfect people. I was in the middle of my presentation and Luke made an interjection about, it was funny that I predicted it, that he would expect that we have this long thing like that. When he made his interjection, I was actually in the middle of something. And I could have let it get off and say, oh, we'll hold on to that till later. But I acknowledged him because I know it's important that his ideals and how much he thought about that is going to be very important to our future. What would have happened if I dismissed it? How would you have felt?
It's like,
I would have went postal.
That's how most people think. you probably doubled enough people not listening. I had to think about that. That thought went through my mind. I'm in the middle of this presentation here on this one. I'm going to handle some of that later. What do? I had to make sure that I'm acknowledging this is important stuff. I cannot dismiss it. Sensitivity to how they feel. Their feel is related to how much time, energy, and thought they put into things. He doesn't speak up unless it's
Important.
It's important.
It's important.
That's it.
Brad's like that, right, Brad?
That's right.
I love having you on this monitor. Everybody can see you, Brad, by the way. So,
And you made a
And he has to-
positive recommendation, a positive one to help advance it forward. Not
Yep.
just to do something, to move it forward.
so the type, approval, appreciation, sensitivity, respect is related to the personality. The next thing you can do to make it even more direct on the boomerang is to learn their 5 best things. So now if I looked at Bobby, or somebody give me one of their top feelings on their shield, out of their 5 motivations. Creative, okay. That's a good one, Russell's. Nothing I said here really permeated with Russell. He's going to want creativity and probably uniqueness, I imagine, is up there high too. With Russell's, that's not the shield, but probably high in your ranking. Creativity is very important to him. And what does creativity require? Time, energy, thought, idealism, in his case.
Sounds a little nauseating to me, you know.
It probably actually does.
But
But he's
necessary.
a fun nature like me first. He's fun first. He's got perfect. So when you're dealing with the shields, these are specific things that you know they stand for. I call the top 5 feelings, motivations in that shield, somebody's moral compass. Every decision. Look at that. Think back right now. Look at your shield right now, and think of a major decision you made. Then read those thoughts out to you, and say, did it measure up to that? Look at it. You'll realize that you make every decision you make, any major decision, through that shield. You always have. I don't make decisions and get in relationships with people in business or something if I don't feel their sincerity. I don't feel they can accept the teaching. I don't feel they respect for the uniqueness I have, that they don't understand the goals that I have, and that they're going to enjoy the fun that I'm going to create, the adventures.
But you know what you did good for people like Russell and me?
But,
Honey, just blame my shield, that's not me.
what's that?
That's my shield. That's my shield. Blame the shield.
I can't help it.
The shield, that's the shield.
Yeah, it's our moral compass. So finding a recipe, the reason we call a recipe for a boomerang is you send that boomerang out again by the personality style, but then try to understand what are they most motivated by. I would take creativity with Russell and idealism every day over anything else, which is different than sincerity and inspiration. It's probably more important to him, creativity in his ideals. And so I actually already know what I would say, Russell. Without Russell and his creativity, I mean, Honor would never have gotten on board with this and decided to relaunch the Honor System. It's this guy here and his determination he has about it and creating this. He recognized an opportunity this can be huge and brought this and said, Honor, let's do this. And I've said to them from the beginning, this is what I wanted all along. Right? No matter how much we had to fight to go through it to get to this point. That's what I want all along. It was always, for me, a big picture. We wouldn't be there if it wasn't for Russell.
That's true.
Spending the time with this man to show him how much he thought about it. And he had a creative plan on how to approach it. And they did it.
Yeah, but I told him if Bobby wasn't on board, it's a no-go.
That don't concern me. I'm a controller. It's
Motivation.
So that's where we're at with that. I love this one. This is where we get into acknowledgement of who we are. Me at my best, me at my worst. Now, this is the one I was waiting to get with Honor and I with. I think this is great. This is what bothered Honor about me the most when I'm at my worst, which is when everybody's not doing what I want and they're not seeing the value of why we need to move forward. And I was kind of going, what do we need? Oh, I came up, forget to bring it up here.
You need one of those clickers.
Okay. Me at my worst, this is how I look. And not even if I'm trying to look this way. If I'm rubbing somebody the wrong way, this is how they see me. Talks too much, exaggerates, seems phony to others, forgets responsibility, no discipline, easily distracted. Does that kind of describe how you were seeing things when we were going through a rough patch, Honor?
Squirrel.
You know what?
You gotta call it out.
No, when you were talking about being distracted.
Oh, yeah, the
You know about the squirrel.
Seen the
we were
movie
talking about
Up?
our animals one day.
Yeah,
You seen the movie Up?
it's an animated.
I think I
movie.
did, but I
You did. The
didn't pay
guy
attention.
with all the balloons takes his house up.
It's an animated movie.
Where it comes from,
Dog.
there was a dog.
The dog, yeah.
Looks just like Buster too.
All right.
All right, you pull
Sorry.
you all back in now. We're trying to close up.
Sorry about that.
All right. It's okay.
I know.
I'll get you tomorrow.
When you say me at my best,
So,
and you know,
when you saw me at my worst, and this is hard for us sometimes to admit, I know this is me at my worst. Even though I don't feel it, I know that's how I come across when I'm pushing too hard or I'm stressed. And that's how Honor probably saw me. Exaggeration. Talking too much. Seeming phony. True.
Goes back to what you're saying earlier, slow down, slow down.
Yeah, that's serious. That's the natural dynamic, because you're working off of this thing, but this is me at my worst. That's how I look at my worst, and that's how people see me.
Which one am I?
Well, you're that way too, but you're...
I'm not out here by myself.
Mine's more intense though. But you show, you have, because you're not, I was in from my perspective, I was in my leadership role. And so my traits are coming out, and he was kind of trying to listen to me role, so it's different. You have been stepping into your perfect person role. So that's more your dominant side. Here's how you look at your worst, or here you are at your worst. Remember negatives, moody, depressed. Marty's misspelled on there too.
Okay.
Moody, because Marty. Moody, depressed, feels guilty, too much time planning, standards are too high, insecure around people. You at your worst, you're usually a couple or more for all of these things. But at Honor's best, now everybody that knows Honor, tell me if this is him. At his best, faithful, persistent, idealable. Idealable, what's that?
Idealable? That's
Idealist. Or something.
Idealist?
idealistic.
Idealistic, yeah, probably.
Should be idealistic.
Creative, organized, thoughtful.
Yeah.
That's along with his other one. His primary personality is fun, enthusiastic, optimistic, inspirational, great sense of humor, loves people, and sincere heart.
Well, maybe not great sense of humor.
Yeah, I think it's great.
That's at his best. Okay, now look at the control people. Now Brad's a piece control. Brad right there.
Oh, Brad.
Yeah. Brad's best, competent, consistent, witty, patient, peaceful, good listener. Has he been a good listener? He hasn't talked much. Talking.
We're glad
What's
you're
that?
here, Brad. You've been kind of listening.
Listening.
Yeah.
He's
You
another
know,
Todd.
I actually asked Brad once, and I learned a little tool, something about the secret of his. I'm actually a great listener. I'm just not motivated by it. Seriously, I'm honest about it. I hear things, and I'll bring. Brad, remember the days I used to disappear in a meeting and come back 2 weeks later and actually ask you guys why you hadn't done something, and you guys tell me I didn't remember. You didn't think I was listening to you. I did that. I disappeared. I say I'm just transported to Seattle or something. I was thinking about something else, but I'm actually listening. I hear it all. Then I can actually repeat it back to you almost verbatim. And I was joking around with him one day and asked him, I said, well, gosh, everybody perceives him as this great listener, and they typically are good listeners, and he is. But not all the time, right? this. He says, sometimes I just look like I'm listening because I say, yeah. And he's got these little mannerisms he do to make you feel like he's listening. So somebody could talk to him all day, and his absorption rate is less than mine. But everybody feels better around him because he appears to be a good listener.
Bring him to the meeting.
It's true.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Man, it was good listening. Anyway, so that's people at their best and worst. So part of this is recognize you at your best and your worst. And it's also kind of a litmus test for yourself. When am I coming too much of at my worst? And asking myself, when Honor is asking me to be serious, am I talking too much? Okay, I need to step back and show more good listening skills or something to him because they got some issues. Same thing with Russell, bring it to them. I've got to not be this and not appear to be that way. Believe it or not, I'm not the only one that pushes. I got Todd and Angela and everybody else that's been on the string here, Brad, everybody that are pushing me. And sometimes they're saying, oh, why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you? Gotta step back. I gotta take my time. And we gotta make this work. And there's certain things. So we have these discussions all the time about it.
He was just pushed.
And I don't mean to pick on you, Honor. I think this is a great example of what we went through in the last 2 months.
I recognize when somebody else has the bully pulpit.
I'll let you get back up. Well, actually, notice I'm kind of picking on myself more. To me, it's where is it? Okay, the communication one here we use. These are the typical words. If you have conversation, we use this up there in Wisconsin. They use it as a car dealership. Is how they could recognize people. You can take these cards and you kind of recognize the people. Shows their characters, the fun. You see how they are, want to be around people. But the words they use, like somebody that's perfect, want to hear the words feel, right, perfect, sensitive, ideal, details. Their opposite personality, which is fun. All right, funny, great, fun, really happy, good time.
You gotta use this term. I'm sorry.
What's the question?
Go ahead. No, I was just asking.
What's the question?
No, but the question was, how do you get onto that?
Oh, okay.
We'll send you we'll send everybody an electronic copy of it.
Right.
Okay. So back to this. In communicating, it's important to know those 4 different personalities have different words that appeal to them. So when you want to talk to them, you don't have to use these words, but some derivative of them. Fun people, if you talk with words like funny, great, fun, really happy, good time, feels better to a fun person because they don't want anything too serious. If you look at the perfect people, you use words within your sentence structure to them of feel, right, perfect, sensitive, ideal, details. Like if I was selling to a CEO that was a perfectionist mentality, I'd say, look, I want to be sensitive to the fact that you have certain ideals at this workplace that may not apply everywhere else we go. And I want to be able to detail and meet the needs of your requirements might have. Versus a controller say, look, I want to get to your bottom line. I can save you $50,000 a day. And how do I do that? I want to show you. A peace person. Look. Now we're talking the same thing, aren't we?
Right.
A peace person. Look, what I want most is to provide a tool that's going to allow your employee force to become more positive themselves, but unite together and create the most productive company you've had and get along. They're a peace person. They're going to appeal to that more.
Yes.
What was that for?
That was great.
I think you just nailed it.
That's the primary thing.
I actually had a vision on, that the distinction between the peace.
But the ideal though is to know what the other person is.
Right.
You have to learn, you have to become an expert.
Yeah, walking in the door.
That's why initial, hey, why don't you take this and we'll talk when we, so they'll take, you know what I mean?
Yep.
You might as well, when you have that initial contact,
Yeah.
you're armed.
If you don't know who you are, you don't know that other people exist, you don't know how to recognize and identify them and then communicate with them, then you're dealing with a repetitious program, which is what you see in Amway, which you see in car dealer salesmanship, and why they offend over half the people they meet. What they're dealing with is they're dealing with numbers and odds. I'm going to close X number of percentage, but I got to increase the number of people I meet so that I can get this. As opposed to say, why don't I increase my closing percentage by knowing each one of them better? And that's what we're doing.
And why don't we just do it like this? Why don't we have them take this profile, so I'll know.
That's actually, Russell, you're exactly right. That's the point. Is we're setting up this honor 1, 2, 3. Before we get them a trial, you can send them and have a profile right there. You can do what I did. That's your company now.
Yes.
So you can send in, hey, talk to your buddy on the phone. I just want you to take this one little profile. And then when you get it, I never knew that about him, but now it makes sense.
But
Because you're gonna have the bullet pulpit looking down at everybody. You'll see it. You'll know what you're looking at.
But I think that just goes to strengthen what you just said. At the end of that talk, at the end of that interview, or not the interview, at the end of that meeting, the strength is what you use to make them realize who they are. And the question, how do you know that?
How did you know that? Exactly. That's how. Because you told me so.
Yeah.
Or in this case, if you didn't have the profile, that's why I become an expert. That's what I want to teach you how to do.
And see, the great thing about the tools is that you don't have to be an expert at first. You can go out and start utilizing the tools by what Matthias was saying. Send somebody to the website to do profile, so now you're armed. Before you get ESP, you need to read people.
Exactly.
So there isn't a long training process from iteration and getting the information to application and going out and eating what you kill.
Yep.
I had to bring that in.
So I did that was the last. How to work with them. Okay, so if you look through here, you see things.
Actually, this is the bread and butter right here.
Yeah.
Once an owner or a manager or a leader.
Yeah, what we want to do is feed this so that you can take with your honor system brochure and give them a sample to work with. You get some printout, like remember we were talking about, you'll pay us the royalty fee and you'll print your own. We're going to finish this. We're going to finish this and we're going to do a little trade out with you. Go ahead and print out some yourself.
Yeah.
And we'll finish this and that can become your insert. Hey, this is the program here.
Okay.
It's not complicated. It is simple. It's graphical. So everybody can understand it. Now as we go through some of these, let's go with the control guide. The best way to live and work with them. How you get their cooperation with controllers. Every step has to have a specific result. Well, perfect. When things have structure, then things can go smoothly. Fun, nothing should be that serious. And peace, make sure there's plenty of cooperation and no conflict. If you look at each one of these, their main motive, don't start anything unless you can finish it for a controller. Their pet peeves, anything that's stagnant, no goals, ineffective, incomplete. The reason we use these is you can recognize people when they're having a bad day. Okay? How would you do that? Their pet peeves help you recognize that. If they're complaining about stagnation, no goals, ineffectiveness, and things like that, we know something's bothering them. So you go back to the boomerangs, and you can use a boomerang for compliments of it, but you can also use that to interact with them and say, hey, you know what? I noticed you've been talking a lot about this, so something isn't going right for you. Look at his thing, and I bet you look at their shield, realize that's their moral compass, and you can engage them in a way that's not offensive to them and say, hey, what's happening here with your, I know you were born later and everything, you like that feeling, you're, people not listening to you today, what's going on with you? So these are interaction tools too, engagement tools. That's why Jack likes to call it the personal engagement accelerator. You can engage stuff like that. Okay, I finished that. I want to take, I don't want to go through a lot of detail here. I want everybody to experience a little bit more themselves, we've now set up the Honor 1, 2, 3 system with your dashboard, the interactive attitude scale. I want everybody to go in there and experiment with that. Every day you should go in and just go ahead and put yourself a measurement in. You don't have to put any comments. You're not really sharing a lot of that data with anybody else anyway. And start watching your attitude scale. Be real. Be real. Because these, when we implement this into a company, the attitude scale and the boomerangs become sustainability programs. What I mean by that,
I love that.
what I mean by sustainability is if you don't, now it's, once everybody gets their personality profiles and their motivation, things like that, they kind of like it right there. But if you don't have something to keep it sustained and alive, then I don't think like other programs it will wash out, but it won't be as active. So by having an attitude scale and saying, look, what we want all our employees to do is every day or every week, once a month, you know, periodically, go through and fill out your attitude scale. It's for your own benefit. And you can measure and make notations and have a history of why you're feeling changes from good to bad or just good, 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 good. What's happening positive in your life so you can be aware of it, become more personally and professionally productive. This is going to help you. All voluntary, but we like you to. We encourage companies to do it. It's a sustainability, it keeps it alive. The other thing is sustainability about what number are you? Implement the game. The aptitude scale has numbers from 1 to 28. You walk into the door, remember that husband and wife combination? And they had the fights and everything. He was probably down to a 7. He walked into the door, head down, and Honor Bell comes up and say, hey Keith, what number are you today? It reminds them that I need to be on top of the attitude scale. And the agreement you get out of that game and what we coach them is make an agreement that we don't want to be below neutral. We refuse to go into the red zone. We refuse to go negative. It's okay some days that if I'm just neutral, but it's not okay for me to start feeling vengeful. It's not okay for me to start feeling violent, mean, or nasty, or thoughtless. That's unacceptable. Well, that's where you're going if you don't stop the momentum.
That's right.
Attitude has momentum. So, instituting a what number game is a sustainability tool. Now, these can all be done manually, but it's all going to be automated too. Like the attitude scale already is. Visuals. We encourage them to buy from us posters, 36-inch posters, or things that can go with workstations to make this visual. And attitude scale is fun, especially with our new characters we have on that. Look at the attitude scale. Imagine this a 36-inch poster at a workshop with these fun things. Don't underestimate it. The colors attract people's attention automatically, like that clock. This says 420 or whatever it is.
Right.
Your eye just catches it.
Right.
They ignore it a lot, but in the subconscious mind, it becomes active. So that when they are asked what number you are, even though they've not focused on that attitude scale, they remember 15 as neutral.
Yeah.
And they say it, just because the fact comes out of their mouth, I'm a 15. You did stop the momentum. You may not have got him to smile a lot or anything, but he was down here, and for a second, you at least changed the momentum and reminded him that we need to be up here, and all you did is you asked what number he was. It's a real powerful program.
That blue and red kind of reminds me of heaven and hell.
There you go. Okay. The other thing we want to do with them, and she has this in the workbook now, is in my own words. There's 15 questions that led me to write every one of those stories. When's the first time you realized this feeling was important to you? What do you do to others? What do others say to you? How do you respond? What situations you've been in? How do you react? At your best, at your worst? And when you get done by answering those questions, you can compile your own story. So instead of getting this psychic report like they feel that we were psychics, they're actually even 10 times more positive when they put it in their own words. Why do you think that is?
Because it's drawing from their feelings. It's drawing from their at the moment feelings. It's just for the same way grief. Grief is best dealt with psychologically when you have the person write the story about why they feel the grief that they did. They just they just spend the time pulling their feelings, they act on why they feel, basically why.
It's an exercise of displacement without using another person.
Right.
In the psychology field, they call it cognitive recognition. In other words, they became aware of something that existed and were able to visualize, recognize, imagine it now. Where before they didn't have it. Why didn't they have it?
They were not
Because
aware.
there's, huh?
They were not aware.
Well, if we got hundreds of these psychology profiles out there, why haven't they been successful before? Because nobody was ever asking them what their feelings were, and they didn't, even if they did, they didn't know how to do it. Psychologists might do that in a one-on-one setting, but there's never been this exchange or acknowledgement on their part of why they feel the way they feel, and that's what this program really comes back to. It's not psychology that says, you are this way. It is why you might be this way, and here's the source of it. And the source of it is those stories, what you may have experienced is what we write about, but in my own words, our stories have put their mind in a condition to make them remember back, have memories of similar situations, and now when they write out and answer those questions in their own words, they go, oh, I was 4 years old when this happened. I like it when I do this and people recognize me for it. When people do this to me, it makes me feel great. I've had experiences in my workplace that happen like this, and this is how I reacted, this is how I'm going to fix it. And when they put it in their own words like that, they're blown away. Because what we did is we put it in perspective for them. It's a self-acknowledgement. It's cognitive recognition of not only themselves, but how other people affect them. And it's powerful. Anybody that's gone through completely in my own words has had the same impact.
That's the beginning of the recovery. When you recognize and acknowledge it, and you're acknowledging it by writing it out.
Yep. The old workbook didn't have that. Now it has, she has that section in there. And so, and then finally the what you get grid. The what you get grid, it measures your 5, this puts it in perspective too, another sustainability tool. You implement a procedure for this. If you measure your 5 best feelings in life out of 60, I'm going to focus on my 5, my moral compass of who I am. Every decision, good and bad, I make is filtered through that. And then I combine on my opposite axis the 5 aspects of life, home, work, school, socially, and personally, how I feel. And I measure each of the quadrant. I now have 25 quadrants, 1 to 10. How good do I feel about these? And then I take the ones that are not the highest and the ones that have the most impact. I put a problem resolution. I'm only a 7 in my personal relationships. That have all kinds of things at home, or at home, I say. And the only reason I'm a 7 and not a 10, I might be thinking in my head, is I don't have my daughter that lives in Seattle now. I don't have enough time or finances right now until we're up and running great to go visit more. So I'm missing a lot of my family. My kids are getting and moving out. And I'm looking forward to retirement when I can enjoy it more. That's my problem. My resolution's success. So I can go through those, and that's an active participation. You can have a company assign it as a monthly task or whatever, but start one now. And then when you come back to each month, you say, okay, which problems have you removed from it and resolved? Because your resolution is, how am I going to go get more of these 5 feelings in those 5 areas in life by doing what?
So are you suggesting that this workbook is something, a tool to be used with a client?
Yes.
With turning it over to him or her in hand?
Yep. This meeting that we do today is typically your first day of consultation.
Right.
The second day will be, like I said, if they said, we want to focus on sales, okay, give us some of the symbols of what you're doing in sales right now so we can make a custom workbook on how we can address sales and train these people. And then we'll do a lot of role playing and things like that. And so those sales people would have been at the core training, which we learned today. See, just like you guys already, raise your hand if you've come up with all kinds of ideas how you can apply this someplace. Everybody.
Oh, yes.
What do you think is going to happen when you go to the workplace? Do you think these people will come to their own conclusion of how they're going to apply this in their job, no matter what job it is? Yes. Why? Because it's that easy. It comes down to, if I have this much information, this quickly, displayed simply for me on every person I worked around, I can improve my communication. I can have better relationships. I know I'll be more productive, and the company will be more profitable. Everybody can come to that individual conclusion. If they individually know that they're up on the top of the attitude scale and they become productive because they become better communicators and things like that, they're going to feel indispensable, aren't they?
Of course.
And companies become more profitable. It's the arithmetic of attitude.
And this helps them discover that.
Yes, that's why it's discovery, the true art of communication. That makes sense now?
Very much.
Closed.
Yeah.
All right.
No, I'm closed.